Now, from the combined newsrooms of KARK4 and Fox 16, breaking news coverage.
And good afternoon to you. I'm Mitch McCoy. Just after 3 o'clock here at KARK4 and Fox 16, we are hopping up here on Facebook because we have brand new video and reaction from the family of former Arkansas State Senator Linda Collins. They spoke just a couple hours ago outside the courtroom after learning that Rebecca O'Donnell, you see her right there, she's wearing a bulletproof vest, is walking to a police car, pled guilty to first-degree murder and abuse of a corpse. This was a guilty plea that came down around 10 o'clock this morning. We actually came on Facebook Live earlier today to bring you that coverage. This is video, again, of her walking out of the courtroom right after, moments after, she pled guilty to first-degree murder and abuse of a corpse. You may recall Linda Collins. She was found dead at her home in Pocahontas back in June of 2019. Rebecca O'Donnell, who you see here in the video, was arrested just 10 days after the body was found, and she was arrested while en route or driving to the memorial service for former Arkansas State Senator Linda Collins. So let's give you some of the brand new information that we've learned since the story started breaking earlier today, and that is the reaction from Linda Collins' children, the daughter and son. It is heartbreaking to hear them talk. This is, before we go to it, I just want to preference that this is raw video. What that means is you're going to hear, as soon as they come on, they're going to give their name. You might hear reporters ask the question. This is raw video coming in, and there might be some frames of black, so it might just go black briefly. It might come back, but we'll bear through it. Again, this is new video and audio just coming into our newsroom. Reaction from former Arkansas State Senator Linda Collins' family. This is her daughter.
Tate Williams.
Butch Smith.
Today, Rebecca O'Donnell pleaded guilty to killing my mother, to abuse of my mother's body, and no contest of solicitation to commit capital murder. Today, our family has found swift justice by way of a plea deal. We know that there will be some who are not satisfied with that outcome today, and we realize that no matter what punishment Rebecca O'Donnell receives, it will never be enough. It will never bring my grandpa's daughter back, or our mother back, or our children's grandmother back. No amount of punishment will ever fill that void that Rebecca O'Donnell made in our lives the day she killed our mother. Today, we find some shred of peace that Rebecca O'Donnell will be put away in prison for a very long time, unable to hurt anyone else. If my mother was here today, I have no doubt that she would quote the Bible and tell us that we can find peace in God. We know one day that Rebecca O'Donnell will have to answer for her sins before the judgment seat of Christ. In Romans chapter 12, verse 19, it says, "Dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath, for it is written, vengeance is mine, and I will repay, saith the Lord." While our efforts of seeking justice on earth may fall short in our eyes, it is guaranteed by God that justice will be fully served swiftly and justly when we are called to answer for our sins before Him. Thank you all again for your thoughts and prayers for our family during this case. We want to again thank the Arkansas State Police and the Randolph County Sheriff's Department for their hard work. Without your efforts, this case would have not been solved so quickly, but also for keeping our families safely, keeping our families' safety and privacy a priority as well. Thank you.
All right, so that coming in just a moment ago from the daughter of former Arkansas State Senator Linda Collins. Linda Collins found dead at her home back in June of 2019. We are getting new audio and video from the son of the former state senator. Again, this is raw video and audio coming in just now, so there might be a few glitches that might go to black, but most of it is intact. So let's listen to the son of former Arkansas State Senator Linda Collins.
Some of you, if you're local, would remember me from managing the hotels or when I was out in Mom with some of the political events over the years. I would like to say that what happened to my mother was an awful deed. It was carried out of hate, jealousy, and greed. I believe that Rebecca O'Donnell was stealing money from my mother, and when my mother confronted her about it, she snapped and stabbed my mother to death in a fit of rage and perceived self-perseverance. As some news agencies have already reported, I was the one that found my mother's body on June 4th, 2019 at her home. She was lying face down, wrapped in one of my old comforters, and shoved underneath the tarp in her driveway. I will never not be able to see that picture burned in my brain. The smell of a dead body laying outside wrapped up in that tarp for approximately a week in the Arkansas summer. The swarm of flies that flew out and surrounded me. The sight of her white blonde hair moving because the number of maggots crawling on her scalp. The last memory of her that I have was of me making a 911 call and trying not to vomit at the sight and smell of my mother's body. My thought on the conclusion of this case is that none of the punishments allowed per Arkansas state law will come close to what I feel right now, and as a right and equal punishment for her. The plea deal is not what my first choice would have been, but at least we do have a guaranteed amount of time that she'll be in prison for, and we have the ability as the victim's family to argue against her release at every parole hearing. I'd personally like to thank the lead investigator, Kristen Hutton, of the Arkansas State Police, the Randolph County Sheriffs, Kevin Bell, and everyone else that worked their butts off to make sure no stone was unturned, that no piece of evidence was overlooked, and that the safety, security, and privacy of my family were first and foremost during the entire investigation. Thank you all for your well wishes, the happy thoughts, the amazing stories that you all share. Thank you.
That sound coming in just absolutely heartbreaking from the son and daughter of former Arkansas State Senator Linda Collins. That happening up in Randolph County just a little while ago. Them speaking after learning that Rebecca O'Donnell has pleaded guilty to first-degree murder and abuse of corpse charges. We have learned that Rebecca O'Donnell, she was also sentenced today. She has been sentenced to more than 50 years in prison. If you recall, Rebecca O'Donnell was a very, from what it appears, a close friend of the former state senator, also worked on the former state senator's last political campaign. So obviously a very close relationship there. And then in court this morning, according to our content partner, Rebecca O'Donnell admitted to killing the former state senator and hiding her body. So we just wanted to hop on Facebook here. We wanted to share some of that new video and sound coming into our newsroom. Again, if you're just joining us here on Facebook, this is Rebecca O'Donnell walking, wearing a bulletproof vest. This was right after her guilty plea. She is walking with, you see, several, appears to be court bailiffs, and she is walking to the police car. We're learning that from there she will eventually be transferred to the Arkansas Department of Correction, where she will spend the next 50 years in prison. Again, Rebecca O'Donnell has pled guilty to first-degree murder and abuse of a corpse charges. So we are working on brand new information. We did promise you earlier in our Facebook Live coverage and our KRK.com, Fox16.com coverage that we'd come back on Facebook and our digital platforms to alert you of any new information or content that we're getting out of Northeast Arkansas. We did. We have that new video and audio. We wanted to maintain that promise to you. So that is the very latest from Northeast Arkansas. We'll continue to follow this breaking story throughout the day. I encourage you, I invite you to join us on KRK4 News at 4. That's just a little more than a half hour away. And then also Fox 16 News at 5:30. We'll have brand new information for you. We'll continue to work some of our sources up in Northeast Arkansas. But for now, I'm Mitch McCoy. This has been breaking news coverage on Fox16.com, KRK.com, and all of our social media platforms. Have a great afternoon.